So what's going on, everybody? The Thomas FreeMe TV podcast show brought back a longtime friend of the show. If you haven't caught the show earlier, make sure, go back and see some of our discussions, man. Mr. Joseph P Langdon. What's up?
Going on, brother? What's going on? You know
Cleveland in the house, Ohio in the house, man. What's up, man? You look cold.
It's a little cold out here, but you know what we doing? This passion that we got keeps our soul warm. You know what I mean? We keep blazing trails, keep speaking about the miscarriages of justice, and keep this on a red alert so people can understand what's going on. And as long as we do that, we did our job. You feel me?
No question, no question. So, we're about reaching out to the communities and just bringing light to things that are going on that the communities really ain't hip to. So today, a brother, right? The thing that we're striving to try to overcome is about to die. 4 p.m. he's sentenced to die today. And for the last 20 years, this cat has been fighting for his innocence. So I'm going to read the article that CNN came out with today. So the article says Julius Jones is scheduled to be executed today, and Oklahoma's governor has still not decided if he will commute the death sentence. He still has not decided, this fucking guy. Julius Jones is scheduled to be executed today at 4 p.m. unless Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt grants him clemency. Even as the clock is winding down, the Republican governor has still not said whether he will accept the recommendation from the Oklahoma Pardon and Parole Board, which voted 3-1 on November 1 to commute Jones' sentence to life in prison with the possibility of parole. So even though that the parole board, the Pardon and Parole Board had voted 3-1 to commute, this dude is still sitting on it. Governor Stitt of Oklahoma. CNN has reached out to Stitt's office and has not heard back. So here again, we have another person who has been claiming innocence, right, for a murder of a business owner back in 1990, I believe. I believe it was in 1990. Let me see, or 99, one of these years. But I'll look it up here real quick. But give me your thoughts on that, brother.
Well, now what we do at the Thomas FreeMe show. Yeah. Right. And you know how Joseph P Langdon get down. We get facts. We don't deal with opinions and we don't deal with emotions. We deal with the basic truth. Now, me being a person who's been incarcerated for 22 years, I can identify with a long period of time and how a person can transform their lives, and make the better situation out of an ugly situation, right? And here we have this man who has over 6 million signatures on a petition. Do y'all hear me? I said over 6 million signatures saying, hey, do not kill this man. Because it could be more from this story than just the death. 6 million people don't just sign no papers now. Not 6 million. Now, if you would have said 6,000, maybe 600,000, I'd have like, man, that's pretty decent. But when you say 6 million, that means people are at an uproar and people are fed up with the system and they're tired of these people dying, innocent men and women in America. This is not Afghanistan. This is not Pakistan. This is not Russia. This is America. This is America. And this Governor Stilts, or whatever his name is, I want to call him
Kevin Stitt.
Scrub. I want to call him Governor Scrub.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I'm calling him. Governor Scrub. # Governor Scrub of Oklahoma. Right? Has this man's life in the balance of his hands.
Yeah. Why he's getting up and sitting up this morning, drinking his coffee, knowing that this man is getting ready to die. Like you say, 6 million people have signed this petition. That's scary, homie. That's scary to know that we could have 6 million American citizens sign one piece of paper to just hear one man's story out, to give him a fair trial, because his trial was shit, right? This is all the people are asking for. If you know that he's guilty, then give him a fair trial. That's all the people are saying. Let him get a fair trial. But you have 6 million people saying this, and still you have one man, like you said, one man who's supposed to be the people's representatives, This is supposed to be the people's representatives. You have 6 million people saying something, and he's still undecided. That's scary.
Indecisive. And this is the thing, right? And I have to make this so clear that it rings in the drums of the people who are listening, who are tapping in, and soon will listen maybe 10 years from now, right? Now, what I want y'all to really pay attention to, what is the dude who killed that guy, them 2 people, and wounded the other person in Wisconsin? What is his name?
Oh, that's Rittenhouse. That's Kyle Rittenhouse. Talking about Kenosha.
Okay, now Kyle Rittenhouse, if you see how they present his case on TV, is on national TV, so the whole world can inspect what is going on. So when it's on national TV like that, they have to perform at a certain level of integrity because they know the world is looking. But when the world is not looking, ladies and gentlemen, guess what happens? Those legal technicalities get swept under the rug because you can't see them. And if you can't see some, guess what? The American people don't believe it, but you better believe it.
Yeah. Well, Julius Jones isn't part of the agenda, and Kyle Rittenhouse was. You know what I mean? And that's why they pushed the agenda through their means of execution, which is through the media.
Yes, because they knew. See, when you're dealing with class levels, right? I'm sure Mr. Julius Jones, right, has come from a poverty-stricken environment, right? I'm not saying that's guaranteed, but I'm almost sure, right?
Oklahoma now. And remember Oklahoma's history now with the black stock market and all that.
Blowing up the Black Wall Street and things of that nature. So with that being said, we already understand the complexities of this environment, right? So we already know he has gasoline drawers on in the fight. As soon as he walked in the fight, he already had gasoline drawers on. He exploded. So with that being said, what the American people need to understand is when Kyle Rittenhouse is going to court right now, every camera, every legal lawyer around the world is watching this case. So they have to follow the rules. But when you're dealing with people who are in poor income environments where there's no cameras to inspect the rules, guess what happens? They get sabotaged.
Let me ask you this, homie. Let me ask you this here, because that's a good point, right? The world is watching the Rittenhouse case, and there was a lot of peculiar things that happened inside of this courtroom. So let me ask you, because you're an experienced man of the courtroom as well as I. How many trials have you been to?
Oof. On my personal self?
Yeah, how many trials have you sat through where you had to, you went through a jury? So you've been through two. Okay, me as well. I've been through 2. So through those 2, when it came down to your jury, how was the final jury selected, if you can remember?
Never with a bingo game.
Never, exactly. This is my point. I've never saw anything like that. I've never saw, man, if they would have brought me that box and told me to pick them 12 people, I would have slapped that box out of their hand and tell them, man, quit playing with my life. This ain't no bingo game, man. You know?
When I went to trial, and everybody I know who went to trial, you can file a motion for a jury of your peers, which are people who's supposed to look like you, think like you, and can relate with you, so they won't have a preconceived notion about you. How about that? So for them to be able to give him a bingo game to choose whether guilty or innocent, whether I was at fault or had the right to take these men's life, shit resulted to a game, right? That's what I mean about this American system. If you really pay attention, there's over 2.1 million people in the prison industrial complex in America. However, there also is 250,000 documented innocent people in prison. A quarter of a million. Just imagine if you had a $250,000 $1 bills and you threw it in the air. What you think you would see? You would see a tsunami, right?
You wouldn't know what it was, but yeah, you would think you would be consumed by it.
And that's exactly what's happening to the fabric of the American people. Mm-hmm. They're being consumed by a mass incarceration that has become like a wildfire in California, burning down miles and miles of oxygen, taking the life of the people who are dwelling in, just wallowing in them cesspools. And one in particular right now in Oklahoma at 4 o'clock, his life will be on the line.
5 o'clock Eastern.
His life will be on the line. Now think about this. What you gonna be doing at 5 o'clock Eastern? You might be with your kid. You might be eating. You might be smoking a joint. You might be drinking. You might be just doing whatever life brings your way. But this man is gonna be looking at the barrel of a gun in a form of American execution.
That's it. They're gonna walk him down a long, cold hallway. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna strap him to a table, you know, and strap him down, and then they're gonna start administering, you know, that process, man. And how, and when you know that in your mind that you're innocent, yeah, it's just, it's
evil, man.
It's unspeakable. It's evil. It's evil, man. It's absolutely evil for a person that knows, in Kevin Stitt's, you know, position, to say, you know what, let me think about this. What is there to think about? All you have to do is look at the man's past, see that it wasn't a fair trial. It's already been documented. It's already known that this man did not get a fair trial. How are you going to let a man die? You're supposed to be a representative of America. How are you going to let a man die that you know did not get a fair trial? This is, as you said, is evil. And evil, we use evil as a cliche. You know, we say it but this is the pure essence of what evil is when you know that the life of another human being is in the balance of your hands, and yet you choose not to exhaust all remedies. This is what we're holding Kevin Rittenhouse on trial for. This is what we're telling him for. How can you claim self-defense if you didn't exhaust all remedies? But yeah, we got a politician, we got a representative that is about to let a man die without exhausting all his remedies. It just, again, what did they say? What did X say, partner? What did he say about the hypocrisy? You know, that's the hypocrisy of our democracy, man. But
you know, man, for the people out there who listening, man, this brother right here, man, my friend Thomas FreeMe podcast, he's been putting on. And, you know, at this particular moment, a lot of people don't realize that the things we talk about are real life issues. They're issues that can really change the dynamics of life. You know, the things we talk about can really radically change your way of thinking, your child way of thinking, and see life from a different perspective because we've been through it. So what we're trying to tell you, because you would think, why are we talking about another man? He's in prison. He did a crime. Yeah, right? But the fact is, this is a human being. And you have something called cruel and unusual punishment. And this is what is being administered on this man, right? You don't take a person's life without facts. And the facts show that this man did not commit these murder or whatever the case may be. And look, 6 million signatures.
6 million signatures, man. 6 million. I mean, that's unheard of. You know, it's crazy. That's some countries don't even have 6 million citizens. People. You know, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like the Rittenhouse. You know, you got half the country right now, homie. You got people sitting outside of the courthouse waiting for this verdict to come in, which I think is going to come in today. But you got half the country that think that just because these dudes, the Rosenbaum and the other, you know, the Huber and the other guy, you know, were criminals, they have criminal backgrounds, that they deserve what they got, and that Kyle was an actual hero, that he was eliminating people off the street. When you hear that with the background that you got, how does that make you feel? Does that make you feel, and you're a black man in America, so you already don't feel welcome for the most part, but does that make you even feel kind of welcome in your communities, knowing that people look at individuals like this?
Hey, this might sound crazy when I say this, right? Because I do feel welcome here, right? You know why? I am wherever I go, right? I don't care what part of the earth, what cop pull up on me. I don't care about none of that stuff. You know why? Because I'm a messenger, right? And messengers get what they got coming, right? See what I'm saying? Real talk.
Truth
right?
tellers, man. Research history on truth tellers.
Yeah, we get what we got coming, right? So that's something I already leveled up for, right? So with that being said, however, I still look at the fact that this man, when we talk about first degree, second degree, third degree, we're talking about what? Motives.
Yes.
Right?
Agenda,
we're
motives,
talking about motives, right? Motives. And what happens is this guy went from Illinois, right? Because he was told his father's friend Carlots to protect him. So he traveled with an AR-15 across state lines, right?
That he obtained illegally through a straw man.
Which means it's intent there. He knew he was going to kill somebody that day, right? Because he went to these car lots, okay, then left the car lots and patrolled the streets as if he was a cop, right? Now, if you was there to hold down your father's friend's car lots, why would you leave from there, right? If the goal and the plan was to protect his property, why did you leave from there?
Well, let me ask you this, right? Because you're from the hood, man, and you have an extensive history of hood life.
Yes,
right?
I do.
That's been checked, and there's no debate on that. So,
no,
how many times have you saw like a young white punk Rittenhouse like just wanted to be part of this gangster life, but had no experience in that life? Not to say that white people don't know the gangster life.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? But these ones that live outside of it and they see the stuff on TV and they want to tote, and these TikTok gangsters, these as you and I would call them, these cell warriors. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Would you put Rittenhouse in that category?
Well, I would say Rittenhouse was more so, you have what you consider people who really are like patriots, right? You know, that patriot mindset, right? Be all you can be, right? The army, right? Without the army, right? You know what I'm saying? Training, shooting in your backyard. So, you think you're really sophisticated in the art of war, right? But we're talking about a 17-year-old who hasn't been trained in guerrilla warfare or riot traumatic situations, right? That is something you have to be skilled at in order to deal with, because the second minutes and things of that nature, split-second decisions you will have to make in order to preserve a life or, preserve yours. With that being said, I believe he was brainwashed to believe he was some type of Captain America, right? I don't think it had anything to do with the hood mentality. I believe it had more to do with a patriotic mentality, because he went in there as if he was Superman. Right.
Well, why I say that is because he was using like hood terms. He was on TikTok and he was, like he would sit there and hold his gun. Yeah, he would sit there and hold his gun and he's like, I'm just trying to be famous, bruh.
Oh, I
know what I mean? And
I ain't know that.
And stuff like that.
Never knew that. Never knew that. So now looking at it from that perspective, I mean, people tell you the truth when you listen to him. So he told you what he did it for. Right. He wanted to be famous, bro.
And these are my points. These are my points. You know what I mean? Now, let me ask you, right? You, back in your heyday, were you ever a gun toter?
Well, that's essentially what I was.
So, you being a gun toter and having experience, knowing that this firearm is your lifeline, essentially, in the environment that you're in. How did you look at that firearm? Did you look at it? Did you buy your firearms because they look cool? Or did you buy your firearms or get your firearms because of what they were intended for?
A combination of both.
And
I say that to say this, because there's been times I've seen guns and I'm like, man, that thing is pretty. Woo, wait, right? So you buy it for that as well, right? But you also buy it because when you're coming up in those type of environments, is like being in a war, right? So your weapon is essentially your heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
No, for real.
Mm-hmm.
If people think this is a game, it's really going on in the hood, right? So I would say more so a combination of both, because the first infatuation with the gun is how it looks.
Mm.
When you're young, you see it. Oh man, he got a nice one. Then you start talking about your other uncle gun. Man, you seen your uncle gun? He got a big one with the holes in it. You start describing it, start becoming sexy to you, right? So not only is it a weapon to protect yourself and a weapon of mass destruction in case somebody opposes, it is also a tool of showing that you're the big man. You got the biggest one. I got the flyest one. You got the what? You got that 9, man. I got the FNN. You got the FNN. I got the AR. So it is a competition.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a combination of both, I would believe.
So what about
unless
when
you just ain't got nowhere to go with that one gun?
So what about when you hear that somebody has an AR-15 and is loaded with full metal jackets? What does that speak to you?
That means he's ready for war. See, even in the hood, right? Dudes got them type of guns, I'm sure. I don't know, but I'm sure they do, right? But they're not walking around with them guns unless they're coming out to kill everybody. You know, like a gang war, or, like a turf war, or like a whole block got to get it, things of that nature. And if you don't know what that means an all-out blood civil war. That's what that means.
Spraying whoever gets shot and dropped and dropped.
Get it. We don't care. But when the average goon, thug, or CCW carrier, right, they're going to have a pistol, They're going to have a 9mm, 380, whatever. So many flavors. American made. You know how the American dream kill. Mass weapons of destruction. Buy them in the hood. Buy them in Walmart. Kill everybody. That's what they do here. Right? So with that being said, right, I believe, and I truly believe this time is for you, man. Right? When you have an AR-15 and you bring it out your house, your intentions better them than me. That's your intentions. Better them than me.
Right. So now if you're out there, because you're up there again, like I say, you're in Ohio, so you're kind of up there in that corridor up there. So you were dealing with a lot of what was going on last year in Kenosha as well. So when you see somebody walking around with an AR-15 strapped to them, how does that change the complexity of the crowd? You know what I'm saying?
That's gonna make everybody, the average person see a little small 22, they run. So if you see a gun with an extended clip and it looks like that, and if you don't know what an AR-15 look like, think about the devil on steroids. That's what an AR-15 is. The devil on steroids, right? So anybody who has something like that, and I happen to see him in the crowd, I'm going to clearly go the other way. No questions asked. I'm not going to try to be a hero because them bullets come out too fast in the AR-15. Squeeze it one time, 5 bullets hit you. That's why when he shot the one guy 4 times from one squeeze of the trigger, it was because they bursted out the gun. You see what I'm saying? That's the type of weaponry that AR-15 is. It's a weapon of mass destruction, brother. It's facts.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I've never held an AR-15, so I don't know if they actually have the semi switch where you can go from single to burst.
They got both. Yeah,
but I think he actually had it on just single shot. I don't think it was. I don't think it was a burst.
Whatever he had it on, right? So that means he shot that guy 4 times. Boom, 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 boom.
Exactly. That he actually squeezed the trigger 4 times. That's a difference. There's a difference there.
Big difference. Big difference. Because if you shoot it 1 time and 4 bullets come out, that's that's the gun. But if you pull it out and shoot 4 times, that's the man. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully the American people do the right thing and speak up for this brother that's on death row in Oklahoma.
Amen, man. I'm gonna be praying at 5 o'clock, man.
Think about his family. Think about his, the people the 6 million people that wrote up and stuck up for him. Let's just keeping in solidarity that hopefully, Governor Scrub does the right thing. And with that being said,
I just don't understand it, man. I mean,
deeply sad.
Yeah, I mean, you know, with everything that's going on, I don't even know how to explain it. You know that all of this going on, especially up in the Michigan area, you know, all of this wrongful conviction. We're having rallies for wrongful conviction. There's more talk of wrongful conviction and reform than I've ever heard in my life. You know what I mean?
Me too.
And yet you still want to make a stance on something as controversial as this, to let a man die without at least opening it up and making sure that's the right decision. It's just, to me, that should speak volumes to the American people, man. It should speak volumes in the sense that, listen, man, we have to come together. We have to stop arguing with each other, right? Doesn't matter. We're American citizens, man. And when we look at another person, that's the first thing we have to realize. Like, this is my brother. This is my American brother. And we may have difference within the community, but we need to stop getting the government involved in our communities and start handling our issues within the communities in positive, community building fashion, instead of tearing ourselves down and allowing the government to come in and do a sweeping hand. This is what I'm trying to get people to understand. Like, when something happens in prison, let me ask you, when something happens in prison, homie, how does the warden in the prison handle that issue?
Like, you talking about like something like what, a murder or something like that?
Just as far as say somebody gets killed, say your prison has weights, right? And somebody kills somebody on the weight pile with a dumbbell. What happens?
Oh man, they're taking them weights away. First, they're gonna shut the prison down. Everybody getting locked down, right? Mm-hmm. Then they're gonna do a thorough investigation, right? Mm-hmm. If they're gonna cover some shit up, they need to know how they're gonna cover it up. Mm-hmm. Because they're gonna cover some shit up, right? Mm-hmm. So they're gonna figure that out, and then they're gonna put the shit together, and they're gonna already have a storyline. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna already have a storyline on what happened. Mm-hmm. They're gonna already have a storyline what happens. And what happens is complete control. Mm-hmm. Once they control the people, they can control the message. Once they control the message, they got everybody. Then they start telling stories on how they want it to unfold, like what's going on with the brother in Oklahoma that's facing death at 5 o'clock. They made the
it's like you said from the jump. They take the weights, right? They come in and take the weights, and my point is that when that is the government's mentality. The government's mentality is that if you calling them for a problem, they're just going to come in and take the whole problem out. You see what I'm saying? Until there's nothing else.
Another problem.
And this is what.
And then another problem.
And they just keep taking, and they just keep taking, until eventually we're going to wake up one day and we're going to realize, well, shit, I get arrested if I say the wrong thing. I'm kicked off social media for saying the wrong thing. I get fired from my job for saying the wrong thing. They tell me I can't kneel and pray to God. You know what I mean? This is what's happening, man. So people wake the frig up, man. Wake up, man.
Yes, indeed. We're here to tell you live from the building. It's not a game. Peace, brother.
Hey, take care of yourself, man. Another shout out to the community, man. We love you guys. This is Joseph P Langdon and Thomas FreeMe.
With me, man.
We out.
We're gonna be doing big things though, brother. You know how we do it. Peace.